What's up, guys? It's David from Capsule to Cone, and today we're going to be checking out the IK Multimedia T-RackS Comprexxor. So here we are with the T-RackS Comprexxor. It's really a Swiss Army knife of compression, and I like it on a lot of different sources. So we're going to go through this country tune. It's a cover of a Gaslight Anthem song that we kind of reimagined in more of a country style, and I'm going to show you it. Everything from very subtle compression to really over-the-top compression and saturation that it can do really well. What we're going to start with is just a very simple piano part that's in the chorus. But I think it's going to let you hear everything that the compressor can do and really hear what the controls are doing. And then we'll dive into a few different sources. So let's turn the compressor on. So let's go in and kind of see how these different controls work. Obviously, you have your input. Controlling your input level, and that's how you're going to dial in the amount of gain reduction you want, and then balance it with the output. And a good practice is always to try and level match as much as you can. That will allow you to hear exactly what the compressor is doing. So we have it set right now to 4-1, and it's got a little bit of a slower attack time, medium release. And what I'm looking to get out of this is accentuate the attack a little bit of the piano, as well as kind of dirty it up, because a piano that doesn't have a lot of compression has a hard time punching through the track. And we've got a good bit of guitars, drums, bass in this chorus, pedal steel, organ, that we want to make sure you can kind of feel the piano and that it's not getting too lost. So let's dial that in. Great way to hear what the attack and release times are doing to a source is to hit it pretty hard. You know, hit it 10, 15 dB of gain reduction, and then kind of move those knobs until you get them doing what you want, and then kind of tweak your input and output to get the amount of compression that you're looking for. You can hear we've got some attack, we've got sustain, it's thickened up, it's nice and even sounding, it's got a lot of really cool character. One of my favorite things about this style of compressor is the distortion circuit. So you have a distortion 2 circuit. I like that a lot on stringed instruments, and distortion 3 sounds great on drums as well. And something that's interesting about this version of this style of compressor is this tone knob. So we've got some saturation happening with the distortion 2 circuit, but we can vary it with this tone knob. So we're going to dime that. You can obviously hear that's insane sounding. That can even be cool though, using that and then dialing a wet dry to kind of blend in. I can see doing that for some kind of cool lo-fi effects or even on a vocal. But we're just going to bring this back to around 1 here. So we have a nice little bit of saturation. If you wanted a cleaner sound, you could dial it to the left. And there's a nice little meter here that kind of shows when you're overloading the circuit and getting into that saturation area. Another feature I really like is the high pass. So I'll use this on bass or kick drum where you're able to have the compressor just see above a certain frequency. So maybe we don't want the low end affecting this. We'll put the high pass filter on the detection circuit around 200 hertz. Typically around 200 hertz or so is cool on melodic instruments, and maybe on bass, kick drum, snare, we could bring that down. I'm just going to leave it off because I don't think it's necessary for this piano because there's not a ton of low end information. And again, with that on, it's adding all sorts of excitement. Another feature I like on vocals that we'll show you is the a frequency specific band here, so that the compressor is going to see more of 3K, 4K, 5K, 6K, whatever you choose. And that's actually really cool because if you're using it in the low end, you can kind of hone in on a bass frequency that's popping out that you don't want, or you can bring it up and kind of control some harshness in a vocal. So I'm going to actually turn that on around here. And you can see, because it's kind of focused on that 2K area, it's kind of smoothing out some of the harsh attack. Now, I don't want that to happen on this piano. I want to leave some of that bite in there, but it's something that could be really cool, like I said, on overheads, vocals, guitar, something like that. So let's now cycle through some of these ratios and kind of hear what's our favorite between 2:1 and 20:1. I like that 3:1. There's still some attack that's left and some life is not getting choked out, but there's still a nice kind of crunch and forwardness to it. So it's a really cool vibey piano sound. Let's hear it in the mix. So let's show some other settings. Here we're going to be checking it out on a pedal steel solo. Really great playing. And we've got it at 10:1 with the frequency emphasis band on, distortion 2 circuit. We have the tone rolled back a little bit, so it's not as dirty. And we have the slowest attack time and the fastest release. And we're going to look to really hold this pedal steel in place and really let it pop out of the mix. And something you're going to see that's really nice with this parallel blend is I felt that with the wet on 100%, it was a little too squashed. It made the pick attack a little weird, so we're going to roll that back till it kind of smooths it out. So it retained some of its life, but it had a little bit more thickness, and let's hear that in the mix. So let's hear it on some stereo room mics. It's really going to bring it to life. We have it on the max ratio as well as the distortion 3 circuit. We're hitting around 12, 14 dB of gain reduction, and it's really going to bring them out in the mix. You can hear how much life and ambience and vibe and dirt that brings to the drum kit. Let's hear it now, turned down a little bit and blended in with all of the drums. Okay, let's hear it on an acoustic guitar right now. We've got the ratio at 2:1, and it's a little bit more subtle, but it's really adding some life and some cool shimmer to the acoustic guitar. You can hear without it, it's pretty anemic sounding. You know, it sounds weak. It doesn't really have a lot of presence in the mix, and it's kind of dull and cloudy. But when we have a stereo pair now, both with the Comprexxor on, it's gonna have a really nice polished sound that's gonna find a good place in this chorus. So the last thing we're going to check it out on is the lead vocal. I have the Optocomp preset dialed in, and we adjusted the input and output a little bit, and we're hitting about 10 dB of gain reduction. It really brings the vocal up front and has a nice little bit of roundness and vibe and holds it in place.
You can tell Gail if she calls that I'm famous now for all these country songs. And even if that's a lie,
I honestly went into it a little bit skeptical because there's a lot of hardware units and a lot of plugins that do a similar thing, but there's a lot of really cool tweakable options right on the plugin interface that allow you to do some unique things with it and really shape it, not only as far as compression is concerned, but saturation and tone. And I think that really makes the sky the limit for this plugin and what you can do with it. Thanks so much for joining us on Capsule to Go, and remember to check out the links below and like, subscribe, share it with your friends. I hope it was helpful to you. Catch you later.